Pete, if Elliott did leave for another job, how big of an impact do you think it has on Clemson, if any, considering you rarely lose coaches?
It's a good question, man, because obviously it matters. I know the outcome of the Ohio State game, Sugar Bowl, would not have been different had Tony Elliott been there, but the score may have been a little bit different. He showed his value considerably by not playing in that or coaching in that game, being the signal caller. I think it would be a considerable loss for Clemson to lose Tony Elliott, the same way I think it would be a considerable loss for them to lose Brent Venables, but it's the health of the program that matters. So if people remember back when Chad Morris came into Clemson and sort of transformed the offense from a very pedestrian, mediocre type of offense to one of the, highest flying, fastest running offenses in the country almost overnight, he stays there for a few years, leaves to take the head coaching job at SMU. And of course, we heard a lot of that then as Clemson fans. Oh, your mastermind behind your offense is gone. Clemson's offense is going to look terrible. Meanwhile, they plugged in Scott and Elliott right in there, and they didn't look back. They actually got better offensively than they were under Morris. So I think that as long as Dabo Swinney's there, he's the glue that holds this whole thing together. He has a philosophy of the type of offense that he wants to run at Clemson, and he'll go get a coach, whether it's a current coach on the coaching staff, which is typically the way he does things. They don't go outside looking for coaches very often. They went outside and got Venables from the outside, but really they like to promote from within for coordinator positions. So certainly it would hurt, but I don't think it would be the death knell to the offense or the program by any stretch.
And at the time that they brought in Venables, obviously they were just building what Dabo Swinney envisioned. So he had to go get top-notch guys, as opposed to right now, they've got it. They've got their system built. Dabo probably trusts the way that they're grooming people, so he would want to elevate people within the system.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a snowball. The program gains speed and it starts to become self-sustainable just because of the way the programs run. You see the same thing. I mean, look at Alabama. I'm not saying Clemson's Alabama. Clearly they're not, but they're pretty damn close program-wise. And it seems to me it's virtually every single year that Nick Saban loses a coordinator, and they don't seem to have much of a drop-off, if any at all. So it's because Alabama's program is, healthy. That's all. That's all that matters.
I think you made the comment to me a couple of weeks ago that Dabo was kind of warding off the transfer portal.
Well, he's never used it before. As far as I know, there's only been one player since 2009, his first full season as head coach at Clemson. He's only taken in one transfer. They've always had a rule that they will not even entertain taking junior college transfers. But even outside of junior college, they haven't had anybody transfer in the past 8 or 9 years. So I think that there's a reason for this. Now, it's a philosophical reason with Dabo Swinney is I don't want to bring in a guy from another school and be forced to start him over a guy who's committed to the program, has been here working his tail off already for Clemson for the past 2 or 3 seasons. And just, we're going to kick the guy who's committed to the side for the new guy that came in from Tennessee or LSU because they're a better football player. And that's sort of the way he's looked at it. He also did say that things are changing in college football, and the transfer portal at this point has become basically an open recruitment. It's not much different than going and signing a guy out of high school. So if you have a position of need, and every team has a position, at least 1 or 2 positions of need, whether it's for a starting job or even just to create depth, then it's foolish not to at least monitor the portal. And if there's a guy or 2 every year in there, maybe some one year there's no guys that you want to bring in, but maybe one year there is a guy, or maybe one year there's 2 guys. I think you're putting yourself at a disadvantage in today's modern college football by not even entertaining the transfer portal. Look at the recent national champions, Joe Burrow. Now I realize he was a graduate, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but Clemson doesn't take graduate transfers. So, they wouldn't have gotten Joe Burrow if Dabo Swinney was the head coach at LSU. Justin Fields, clearly, going to Ohio State. That's just to name a couple of the bigger names. But there's guys, Derek King down at Miami, basically completely transformed that offense with just adding that one guy from the transfer portal. They just brought in another guy, wide receiver from Oklahoma, who's going to have a big impact for them next year. So it's foolish to not to entertain it. And Swinney did just make some changes on the coaching staff, not necessarily hiring and firing guys, but just moving them around, giving them different titles. And there is a guy that he has put in charge of monitoring the transfer portal. So I'm optimistic that we may start entertaining getting some transfers here in the near future.